Hello, 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 and welcome to my live stream. For those of you all who do not know me, my name is Michelle, aka the Ignited Teacher. And what I do on my channel is I help math teachers, math interventionists, or math instructional staff. I teach strategies to help with closing gaps. Now, this live stream is a little different. And what I'm doing today is I'm talking about the test prep process and what's taking place right now in most of America's classrooms in the public education sector. Let me make sure that my, let me put this, I check, I didn't bring my sound. Okay. And it's on. There we go. So, today's topic is about what not to do during test prep. And I can say that for most of my career, I have had really good test scores, even when I've had the most challenging students in my classroom. I've taught in low performing schools, underserved communities most of my career. So I'm speaking to you um, uh, 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 from experience. This is something that I have done for 26 years. I've taught everything from elementary math to algebra one. I've been a math interventionist. So if you can name it, I have probably seen and or dealt with it. Let me move my chair. All righty. So we're going to hop into it because I don't want to take a lot of your time. So, um, teaching feels right now, if you're in a tested grade level, and I think everybody's being tested, even the babies in pre-K, if you're feeling like you need to reteach everything, um, that's something that I understand because you believe the children are not going to remember it. In my free resources library this week, I sent out a post talking about don't feel like you have to teach everything. The way that that can be combated, if you stay on this live stream or you're watching on a replay, you can definitely look at the method that I teach teachers to use so they don't feel overwhelmed. There is two groups of people that have to manage themselves. That's the teachers, and then there's you have to manage the students' anxiety as well, especially if it's their first time testing. Like for my third graders, when I taught third grade, that was one of the things that I was really cognizant about. So, you might feel like there's pressure to close gaps, there's pressures to keep the student engaged, there's edutainment, and then you have some schools that just want you to, um, the kids don't have a moment's peace, and the teachers don't have a moment's peace. Um, and here's the thing, you're not alone in feeling that way. I started teaching in a, yeah, here we go. Hold on. My camera popped off. I don't know what happened, but here we are. I started teaching in a tested subject many years ago, and I need to fix this. Hold on. There we go. Many years ago, and part of the problem was is that we used to have a lot more tests than we have now, and I get it. It's rough. Let me move over. Um, it's rough, and a lot of things are taking place. If you don't know my story is my school district has tried to terminate me twice, and I have beat them twice. So, there's that right there. And I've been on home duty since uh I've been on home duty. I'm trying to fix my camera. There it is. Since shoot, August. So I've been at home all this time because the school district decided to terminate me. So there's all these things that are going on. Teachers are fighting for the right to teach. And I understand that 100%. And then there's this scripted curricula that's out there as well. And I definitely understand that too. So what you need to stop doing, and I give you permission to stop doing this, trying to teach everything before the test. That is humanly not possible. You cannot review everything before the test. The second one is using more packets to feel productive. Early in my career, I used to use a lot of packets. And I think my 10th, maybe 12th year, I realized that that's not the way to do that. So it took some time to figure that out and be more strategic. Um, Stop creating brand new materials every day. One of the things that I teach in the Math Intervention Academy and even in Gap Closers, which is a different membership, where I provide strategies and teach teachers how to teach these strategies. Um, I don't I use what you have at the school district. Um, Everything that you need, even if you're closing gaps for the most part, you should not be reinventing it because the gaps come from the previous grade levels, and that's where your material should come from. So you should not, for test prep, be teaching the same thing every day. I'm teaching creating new materials every day. And the last one is stop allowing panic to decide the plan. I know that teachers are under a lot of pressure. I too have felt that pressure before, but planning is it's your defense against the panic. And it is end of March. You should have a plan in place. So here are some things you need to focus on instead. Focus on the highest priority skills. So when I say the highest priority skills, I'm talking about those skills that are a large part of the test. So if you're third through fifth, that's going to be number and operation, it's going to be fractions, it's going to be decimals, it's problem solving. Those are skills that you should be focusing on because I promise you, there's only one way to make a test. I worked in Louisiana, I've worked in Texas, I've worked in Florida. The tests are all the same. And the way that unless it's an extended response, and we don't have that in Texas, thank God. Um, it's all the same material. So those highest priority skills are still the same. Those strands are still the same. Um, Focus on patterns in students' mistake. You have to make your students show their thinking and how they solve the problems. For you, that helps you to close those gaps and address mistakes. Mistakes don't always have to be addressed one on one. They can be addressed anytime you get up there to teach. You can put add it to a part of your lesson. You can do it as a mini lesson. You can do it as a review. There are several different ways that you can do this. Also, focus on simple, repeatable routines. If you try to start over during test prep time, you're going to throw your students off. Students thrive on routines. Success comes in a routine. And if you try to change everything up, you're doing a disservice to your kids. Like I've seen teachers who have said, "Oh, I did a room change." If you're working in a high needs area, there's nothing wrong with changing up how you teach things or adding some support for with technology. But make no mistake, if you are changing routines, it takes that much more energy to get those kids back together. And also, the last thing is focus on quality, not quantity. That means mastery and not how many skills you can review. That is what you want to do. The last one is important. Mastery is important in mathematics, and especially for those high priority teaks, like for elementary, place value, number operation, fractions, decimals. In middle school and high school, proportional reasoning, solving equations, slope, inequalities. Those are going to be high priority skills because those skills show up in those other strands. For Algebra 1, it's a little different because Algebra 1 to me is a easier test because everything is streamlined, opposed to elementary and middle school where you have 4 or 5 different strands of math that you have to teach. There's no geometry in Algebra 1, and you're teaching lines. That's all you're teaching. So, because I have my paper down here, so I can not. So, the way that focusing on students work is you have to look at the students work and look at all the kids work. And I like plickers. There's a blog post that I wrote many years ago about plickers, and if you can get your kids, I use a ticket out the door to fill out that work and you analyze it, it will tell you a lot, especially on those high priority skills. Now, am I telling you not to review the other skills? Certainly not. It's going to be based on your data. If you're looking for any videos about data, you can check my YouTube channel out. And I have, I think, a couple of videos on data and data walls. And what I want to remind you as I close this out, because I wanted this to be short, is to remind you that you don't have to do everything. Everything does not have to be done. Look at your data, follow that, create a plan, and follow that plan. That is how I approach testing every year. Emphasize and focus that, well, small focus moves create growth, meaning when you focus on those small things that give you big gains instead of all the things that give you minimum gains, your students will do a lot better. Also, don't deviate from your routines. And the last one, clear instruction, meaning having a plan on what you're going to review is going to pay off on that test, because the children, they're only going to follow your lead. And remain calm. At the end of the day, the kids pick up on your energy. If you're frazzled and out of whack, the children are going to be frazzled and out of whack. One of the things that I used to tell my students is, never fear, Miss Williams is here. And I tell them that they have the best math teacher on the planet. So it calmed a lot of them, because they're looking for reassurance from you. So if you're looking for something that will help you with test prep, or creating a plan, I have some templates that I'm going to put in the description. It is a called No Test Prep templates, and it helps you create a plan. Also, I think I have a video in there as well for no test prep. And yeah, if you have any questions, I'm going to host a workshop. I'm looking over here at my calendar, because I'm not sure which week I'm going to host it on, but definitely either next week or the week after. I'll host a workshop on spiral reviews, because I know in May, everything is going to get popping, and I want you all to be prepared. So thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this on the live, on the replay, drop your comments in the comment section, and I'll get back with you as soon as I can. Bye bye.